I'm ready. My game is already. Let's do it. Danny versus Patches. I hope that was the right playlist, by the way. It was. Safe. I am going to start the recording since I think tonight after the games we'll do a couple gameplays of Deadlock. You guys might see Alex in those if he's still up. I'm ready. My game is already. Obviously, it's one from America, one from Poland, so we'll probably do some server switching, but I'll let them know. Ready when you guys are. It's a best of 5 for 75 buckies. The winner gets 60, the loser gets 15. First match of the night is often some slightly lower level community Starcraft. Now, these guys are obviously not bad. They are around 5,000 MMR. Maybe a bit above, a bit below. Patches has been asking in the Discord to play for a long time. And I felt kind of bad. I was like, it's about his time. I just don't know that much about him. I don't really see him in the tournaments that I normally organize. But he's been asking for a while. He's got a lot of support in the Discord channel. So I thought it was time. And then he played a really good series against Alex, the Protoss that we just saw a couple weeks ago. And even if that didn't go his way, I kind of feel like he deserved another shot. And he's always eager to play. So let's do it. A best of 5. One of the nerds is going to be happy. Walk away with 60 buckies. Dr. Jit says, this month I'm Lewis. Lewis was fast in practice, I saw. Apparently the Mercedes cars are very fast when it's cold. And I didn't think it ever got cold in Vegas, but apparently it does get a tiny bit cold in like November, December, January. So you love rooting for the new guy. I think they're both in a way kind of new. You know, neither of these guys have ever really played at the big offline events or really traveled the world, but it's a unique opportunity for them, and that's obviously what's fun about the Big Brain Bouts. Now, for Danny, it's not the first time. For Patches, it is. He is making his debut. I've heard rumors that he can be a little bit cheesy and cheeky, even though he was fighting those accusations in the Discord. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
Round 1, fight!
Friday night, video gaming. In the top right side of ley lines, we are looking at the main base of the man who's playing for the 3rd or the 4th time in the Big Brain Bouts. He's always eager, he's always down. Hailing from Poland, this is Danny. This is not Patches. Patches, not Patches, that guy. In the bottom left side of ley lines, we are looking at the main base of our American Terran player, not Patches. Patches. Not Patches. Might be Patches. I'm very confused. All I know is that he's been very eager to play for a little while. He plays Terran. Apparently he's only 19, so he's still kind of young. He said that he started playing ladder actively in 2019 after he bragged to his friends that he was gold. And they basically said that he's not that good and he was going to prove them otherwise. And hey, if you make it up to 5,000 MMR, I think you can already be pretty proud of yourself. That is not that easy. Definitely something that takes a lot of time. I'm just curious if we're going to see him do aggressive, cheeky, weird stuff. Danny, I think most of the games that I've seen of him, pretty honorable. I'd like to think that, sure, like he does the things that you expect from a 5k Protoss. He has his 1 or 2 random builds that they believe in that are not very solid, that you can do over and over again, but sometimes can work to get a quick one on the board. So far, it is very normal. 1 gate, Cybercore before the Nexus. We'll take it from there, guys. That was a fun little warm-up. Very slow start to this stream after I was searching for games on the PTR for 16 minutes, but our regular games, they were pretty fun. We got to play a tiny bit of Starcraft after all. These guys are indeed, give or take, 5k. A bit below, a bit above. Obviously, nobody is really married to their own number, but around that region. He was so nice at Atlanta last year. I'm sure that I've met him then, but I don't really remember. There's a lot of people that I meet at those events, and then I'll remember their face if I see them again, but just pure on the nickname, I've got no idea who's who. We've got a reactor coming online at the barracks. The factory is very close to it, so we could do a little bit of a swapperoo. You met Roddy at WCS Toronto. I believe you. I hope I was nice, mate. I hope you have good memories of it. I always try to take my time for everyone at events. Big events, small events, it doesn't matter. I try to mix with the crowd a little. You're good, bro. I have a picture of us. If you share it in the Discord, then I may remember. But if you say WCS Toronto, I must have looked a whole lot younger back then. Yeah, in 2022 we were indeed in Sweden. 2023 we went to Atlanta though, so at least everybody that was around still had a chance to finally meet us. On one hand, being in Sweden was kind of nice because that's a very short journey for me, but it definitely felt a bit weird, right? It just kind of felt like I was commentating an online event, even though it wasn't an online event, it was an offline event. It sucked not being there. We all missed you guys, but it was still hype. That was a really good event. At the last Protoss victory as well, by the way, guys. So even though you guys didn't get to meet any casters, you guys got to see esports history. The last Protoss champ that this game ever got to see. Atlanta 2022. Whoop, whoop. We've got a quick tank coming out of our Terran. So it could be maybe a couple Marines, Cyclone and a tank. Quick little push. Daniello, aka Danny, playing somewhat greedy here. I wouldn't say it's mega greedy, but it's kind of greedy. 2 gates, Twilight Council, and the Robo was actually a bit delayed. We prioritized getting this Nexus. If Patches makes an early move out, it's definitely what I'm expecting him here to do. This could get gnarly. It basically comes down to 1 blink. Okay, also what you really want to do as a Protoss here, by the way, guys, is obviously be out and about on the map. Start shaving away some units of this army. Start one-shotting a couple of these Marines because they don't have combat shield. If you just sit at home, it becomes really hard to deal with this. Seb says it should be really good for Patches, and I think I agree, but it's still 1 blink. It's 1 Guardian Shield, 1 blink. If you kill the tank, the rest of the army is not that scary anymore. But how do we kill the tank? Blink is seconds away from finishing up. Oh, Patches, I don't think he wants to stick around. He picks these units up underneath the observer. No, he needs to be very careful. He now throws down the scan, but the rest of the army left, and this opens the door for the Protoss to blink forward, kill that medevac, kill the Marines, kill the Cyclone. That is a massive win. That is a massive win for the men from Poland. That's a tiny bit of a disaster for our American Terran player. Yeah, that's really big, especially with how economically this man opened, how quick the 3rd Nexus was, how many probes he's got. Getting a pick off like that is very big. Yeah, I do think that we indeed should have had some more units, like an extra. It should either be like a double Cyclone, a tank and a Viking, or it should be 1 Cyclone with 2 tanks. For how late it was, I do think it takes a little while for units to get from one side of the map to the other here. Overall, I like this map. I've said it before. I expect this map to be played at Home Story Cup. I actually have the map list, but I cannot share it with you guys yet. But I can give this one away. I think this is what we can share. This should not be a mega crime. Maybe Derbovo will be a tiny bit unhappy. And Ley Lines is in. So we do get to see this map in less than 7 days from here on out. Get to see some of the best players in the world. Some of the greatest of all time. Duke it out on Ley Lines. Pretty gnarly supply block, by the way. The 109, 109. But we're going to get another Robo. Robo Bay is done. Bit of a slow game here. Slow start to the night. Our Protoss obviously more than happy with it. Look at the economy, man. It's massive. I'm getting some upper 3 vibes out of Patches. You know, the 3rd base is a solid 3 minutes later than the 3rd base of the opponent. Yet it's still sitting in our main base and we're down 28 workers. He is spending his money incredibly well. Will the patch be live for Home Story Cup? I believe that was always the plan. And I really think it's freaking time because the PTR, guys, is incredibly dead. I gave it another shot today. I was searching 12 minutes for a game. Like the PTR is just, there's nothing. There's nobody there. For a moment, I believe I was literally the only man on the PTR. So it's really time that they get rid of it and they just go back to 1 regular Battle.net. I don't think there are any NA players, no. Not that I can think of. Trigger is currently living in Korea and I guess he couldn't make the journey. I think Australia probably thinks it's not really worth it because it's such a long journey and It's obviously really hard to make a lot of money out of it. And I think Scarlett, her passion is not that high to travel from. I think she's still in China, from China to Krefeld for Home Story Cup. Which it's all understandable. Home Story Cup is mega fun. It's a great community event. But if you're looking at it from a pro gamer perspective, as in like I want to make a living out of this game, yeah, it's hard to justify it. But this is the best Home Story Cup lineup that I've seen in a long time. I believe we are very close to all the players being announced. A few more announcements are coming. I don't know how far we have to go back for a better lineup, but you're gonna have to go many editions back, guys. Definitely since we entered Home Story Cup 20, I'd say this is the most stacked Home Story Cup we've had. Then he is thinking about an attack. He's going up to 4 bases. Well, he's got 4 bases. He's got double Forge spinning. He's got a Templar Archives finishing up. He's got a Dark Strand on the way. He is thinking of an attack, man. These tanks feel exposed, by the way. We do have a double drop. This double drop is pretty awesome by the American Terran player, but he is just in trouble here, man. This is way too much Protoss. Then he got away with a very greedy build in the beginning, and it shows here. No, you don't have to be I don't like that. Honestly, I think man, you're on top of all these things. I think that's a tiny mistake. He tried to recall to the Nexus that just died. Then he made. And now the Zealots were on move command there for a split second as well. I think if he would have just let 10 Zealots do that thing there, he kills all these 5 tanks. And you can always recall literally like 2 Colossus to your 3rd base and you're fine. Now we move command our War Prism above the Marines as well. Our Polish Protoss here, derping a tiny bit. I still think he's in a very good spot. I don't want to make it seem like, oh, panic, he's in trouble. He shouldn't be in trouble. He should be fine. I think all these tanks live and now basically agreeing to a 3-base scenario. It's not hot. And if you lose the Prism, maybe you don't feel like you have the confidence to go for it immediately. I think continuing to attack is a great idea. He's got 19 Zealots. This patches needs a pause. He says, what is it then, mate? Why do we pause? What is the issue? He says, I think there is a bug with the mod. I don't know what the bug would be. He says he cannot get vehicle level 1 in his armory. I think he doesn't. Wait, he's got 2. Mate, that's not a bug. Oh my god, you've got 2 armories. You're already getting it. NA Terrans, baby! Oh my goodness. My friend. The man, his armory finished up and he had to pause the game. He's like, I can't get +1 vehicle weapons. It's like, it's because you can only research it once, my friend. You cannot research it twice. Ay caramba. All good. Big Protoss army here. What's the Viking count? 4. There's only 2 Marauders. But that blink, by the way, a little bit questionable because there are 5 tanks there. These tanks can get some really big shots off. The Vikings are trying to do their thing against the Colossus, but I'd honestly rely more on my tanks. No, don't run away from your tanks. If he would have like lifted the orbital and he didn't even have to be that bad. Patches unsieges everything. If he wants to fight, he definitely needs to siege everything up as quickly as possible. Oh my god, then he moves everything on top of all these tanks. I think this Protoss army might actually melt a little bit. We do have a couple Novas coming in. That's not a bad Nova, to be fair. Move commanding a Stalker Colossus army on top of 6 tanks is definitely a play. Not the play that I had on my bingo card for tonight, but that was a play. Certainly a fight, certainly a couple of engagements. Yo, Eric, thank you so much, mate. 30 gifted subs, guys, in our first game of the day. We're just cooking. Honestly, 2024, we're going out with a bang, baby. Thank you so much, Eric. That is incredibly sweet. Too many names to read out. Anybody that really stands out for me in the list? Sergeant Satsak. We know him. We like him. That's a nice guy. It should still be a Danny victory, guys. He's got a good army. He's got a big army. He's getting 4 Archons now. 4 Archons is awesome. I don't know about this recall. There are still tanks. These recalls have been omega questionable, but it's okay. I think the Archons will win the fight here for us. Because I don't really see 4 or 5 Archons dying against a couple of Marines and a couple tanks. Oh my, what a game between these two. Vikings getting a couple shots off, Stalkers completely ignoring the 2 Vikings. The Archons, they will save the day then. And Danny has made this hard on himself. I think he's got it, he should have it. He gets one of the tanks, he's gonna get that final tank as well. A couple Zealots coming from the bottom right. We are certainly playing the video game here, 13 minutes into ley lines. But I think this will be it. Not Patches did rebuild 2 command centers, but he doesn't have 3-3. And the biggest problem is that he doesn't have a Ghost Academy. Well, he does have a Ghost Academy. He doesn't have any Ghost. If that man, in that previous fight with the tanks, would have had like 3 Ghosts, drop a couple EMPs on the Archons, I actually think this game could have still gone his way. Even though the man has had really no business winning this game ever since he lost that medevac here. That may have been very early in the game, but that was a very crucial moment. And then he is gonna shove this Protoss army, a little bit of everything. Zealots, Archons, Guardian Shield, 2 Disruptors and a low HP Colossus. That Colossus is gonna get sniped, but that's alright. That fight on the left is not even a fight. That's a massacre. It's the 1-0 lead for the men from Poland. Looked overall, I think, a little bit better. Obviously, this is not my area of expertise. These guys, I just kind of figured that these two would make for a pretty decent match. 1 game in, I kind of feel that Danny is fundamentally like a little bit more solid, but perhaps not. Patches has a couple gnarly builds up his sleeve, and we will service switch. This was game 1 in Europe. Game 2 will be played on NA, so maybe with lower ping, Danny will do better. Excuse me, not Patches. Patches will do better. I'll let them know. We go NA game 2. Like the first 5-6 minutes in the game of StarCraft 2 are incredibly important. That's where most of the games will get decided, unless it is very even. But with such a big lead, if you get away with such a greedy build, it should pretty much always go the Protoss way. Unless the Terran is way better and they can really turn it around. Patches is going to have to clean up the opening. He's going to need to come up with something that can keep the economy somewhat even. It's normal for Protoss to have a few more workers. It's not normal for Protoss to have 28 workers more at minute 6 or 7. It could have been a little bit shaken up by the bug. That is possible. I often say that you always experience something new when you stream StarCraft 2. I can guarantee you guys that I don't think I've seen a man pause yet because he thought there was a bug and he couldn't research vehicle weapons. Because he was already researching vehicle weapons. Could be the nerves, eh, guys? Like, obviously not pro gamers. Not every day that these guys get to play for money. Completely forgot that he built an armory and he was researching it already. Oh, I'm not saying that it hasn't happened to me, Bully. It has happened so many times, guys, that I drop a building and I'm trying to get a research and I was like, what? But then within a second you realize, oh, that must be because I already have it. I can safely say that I have never paused the game because I couldn't research +1 because I was already researching +1 somewhere. Forgetting a building, normal. Forgetting that you're already researching something, normal. Or queuing up your upgrades, also normal. Pausing a game thinking there's a bug, that's the special part. Alright. Our man from Poland is requesting 1 minute because he's got omega cold hands. I'm familiar with that. It's getting pretty cold over here as well. I remember seeing 5k Protoss doing 4 forges. I had fun for a while playing triple forge. Just spamming Zealots, Stalkers, and then going triple forge. It's kind of cool. But obviously, it has a skill scaling. But it is really fun to see like 3-3-3 Zealots fight 1-1 Roaches or something. That's actually very enjoyable. Not so tough now, hey, Mr. Roach? You play triple forge against Fox's mech? Fox's mech sounds terrifying. Foxer and Maro are the only two players that can safely open up with a Raven against Phoenix and keep it alive. In my eyes, many eyes, build different. If you're ever in a category, just you and Maro, you're already doing something right. Thank you to Flame of the West as well for the 13 months, saying thanks for the fun games. What a start to our Friday, guys. The Friday that was a shaky one in the world of Deadlock. Everybody's going ham. I think it's gonna be okay. Patches really bring out the passion in video games. I'm not talking about our NA Terran patches, but like you patch, whether it's Starcraft, Deadlock, whew, gets the people going. We have loaded into a blast from the past, as Piggy would say. 2K Atmosphere is a map that I put in the rotation for this round of the BBB, just because I think this is one of the greatest maps of all time. And if they don't give us new good maps, why don't we go back to some great old maps? Well, 2K, absolutely one of them. Let's do it.
Round 2, fight!
In the bottom left side, our 5K something MMR player from Poland. This is Danny, aka Daniello. Either his third or his fourth time in the Big Brain Bouts. As he's going up against this man, someone who's asked for many months in my Discord channel to finally play in the BBB. Tonight is his night. This is Patches. A 19-year-old American Terran player who made certain that we won't forget about him. One hell of a pass. As a Geist enjoyer, I just want to mention C is perfect. He only got this single tiny number change in the patch. C's perfectly balanced. I am okay in general with a lot of things, even though the map keeps on changing. And now I sometimes get lost again. I was like, wait, where am I? And this morning, I am not a man who gets very angry over video games. But I got really upset with the video game after I couldn't punch the bridge buff. I just stood there and then a haze actually took my casting rune. I was 7. I was really pissed. I have played 700 and something games of Deadlock. And this was the first time where I had that feeling of like, I want to be toxic. I literally do not want to help my team. I would rather lose this game than help this guy win. I didn't do it, but that feeling started to crawl up my body. After I asked the haze, please let me get the rune. And he snatched it away in front of me. And he said, bro, you can't even punch this rune while you need it. I was like, I'm so done with this game. I was pissed. In the end, I did my best and we lost. Because of that haze, by the way. What is this build? This is straight out of the Lino playbook. Some mind games over here, guys. So Danny has scouted. Danny saw one barracks at home. Danny has seen the second barracks in the natural as well. Obviously has not seen this factory. What is this build, guys? I like how Patches played an honest macro game, game 1. It's like, see guys, I'm really not that cheesy. But then we're down 0-1. Money on the line. And we go back to what we do best, baby. And that is apparently building some things out on the map. So what is this, guys? For tanks? Is this the double factory tank all-in? Is it? Harster made a video about this right a while ago. After Harster made that video, I suddenly had a whole bunch of plebs doing this against me. And the first time I beat it, and I was laughing. I was like, holy hell, this is so bad. But then I actually lost a couple games against it. And I was like, well, holy hell, I am so bad. Tanks and Cyclones. We're opening things up with a Cyclone. He's like at 5:30. These builds are gnarly. And we cannot forget about what happened in game 1, right? Think of the wise words of HeroMarine, Big Gabriel. You have to punish those greedy Protoss players sometimes. One of the Reapers does get sniped. Danny may expect that something weird is up. He's got no idea what it is. And if this kind of stuff hits you by surprise, I just think you're kind of cooked. Now, if he goes for 4 gateways and maybe we get like a backup battery and a backup pylon, I think he might be okay. But you're going to have to figure out that this is happening and you really need to be like a tiny bit more active with the Stalkers. Do not tell me that this is the only pylon he keeps it. That's a, oh my god, it's a slow warping pylon as well. That's even more painful. I hate this natural. This pylon gives slow warp-ins here. It will give fast warp-ins here, but this pylon could obviously die, and then the 2 gates are going to be unpowered as well. Oh, that's the gate and the robo even. I don't like it. Because I played a couple games on the previous server, previous patch, I'm getting confused, but obviously we're playing on the new patch. There's no battery overcharge, but there is energy recharge. The man is casually dropping a robo bay. I don't think he's got any idea what's happening, man. Scouting the seas, no natural. Sees a couple marines at home. I don't think that Danny has any idea what's happening. We're still building 2 probes at a time. He's got 43 workers. Okay, we are gonna get some extra batteries now. We really need like 1 more pylon here. Or maybe here, but definitely something that's gonna power the robo and the gate. As these units already get caught out. I'm gonna get a dark shrine too. They've cancelled the robo bay and we're going for the dark shrine instead. A couple force fields go down. Honestly, I think Danny's kind of cooked here. Patches said I'm really not that cheesy. Goes down 0-1 and he hits us with this. And I'm like, well... I'm starting to believe the rumors in my Discord, my friend. But that's okay. You don't have to be ashamed of who you are in this video game. If you want to be dirty, if these are your builds, hey, you can play the video game in any way you want. That pylon does end up dying. Now the gate is unpowered. Then he's going to try to get 5 more gates. He's got workers for days, but he got no army. Literally has no army. The Dark Shrine is a cool play, but I think best case scenario is going to be 1 base against 1 base, and I don't really love that for the Protoss either. This is one hell of a forward blink, guys. I could have done some hype casting, but I did not want to see all of you guys unfollow this channel. So I decided to keep it to myself. All the probes died, the Stalkers died. What we will have now, though, is a DT, baby. Give us that DT, yes! Oh, a little bit suspicious, but... Will we get a scan? Does Patches have... Patches is going to build another command center in his main. Hello? We really just don't have a scan? We have a scan now. We lost 1 tank, but it's alright. This is actually the final scan. Uh-oh. He won't actually get the next... Man, imagine if Danny would have not pulled those probes. Imagine if he did not pull the probes. We're playing World of Tanks over here. Hashtag roll out. Now we turn around. We're not that afraid of 1 DT apparently. What the hell am I looking at? This 1 DT has been an absolute hero. Has killed 2 tanks right now and a couple of marines. And pushed this Terran army away. But I love everything. Tell me that we're gonna get a tech lab on this. Yeah. Oh my god, this has been the sickest DT. Has killed 3 tanks. 1 DT has killed 3 tanks. And we can't forget that obviously Danny has blink. The Nexus survived. Oh my god, man. In a way, he's actually kind of ahead now, no? I'd almost say that, I mean, it is double factory. Raise that depot. You're gonna have blink and zealot charge, and obviously dark shrine tech, and a lot of gateways. Sure, the Terran has double factory, but for some reason we've got 2 depots here as well. Some NA depots. Oh, mate. Here we really get cooked by literally 1 DT. 1 DT killed a tank and a couple of marines, then eventually died, but then the 2nd DT showed up and it kept the Nexus alive. Well, the Raven is out. That can't be too much of a surprise to anybody. Even saves his Dark Templar. I agree with what Bama said here. Our Protoss should know that the factories are out, but maybe he doesn't want to waste any time. If there is no wall off, Zealots with charge could cook here. Don't forget that he also just wasted some energy on the Raven. DTs will become an Archon. I don't think that Patches can really fight on the low ground. If he has 1 bunker, this is an easy hold. But if he has 0 bunkers, it's not an easy hold. Not an easy hold at all. Zealots with charge mean business. Oh my god, he moves out with the Marines as well. This is bad. I think Patches is in trouble. This game felt 99% over, but the Dark Shrine has really turned things around. Now the Protoss army gets into the Terran main as well. This Archon is getting insanely good hits off. I do love the hold position attempts on the SCVs, but I'm afraid the Zealot DPS, the Archon DPS, it is just a little bit too much. I cannot believe that the man who cancelled his RoboBay to make a Dark Shrine has been able to close this one out after 9 minutes and 20 seconds. The Dark Shrine dream is alive and well in the year 2024. That's a proper Protoss DT victory if I've ever seen one. Uh-oh. Should have hypecasted. I mean, he lost all the units, mate. It wasn't a fight. I could have definitely hypecasted the game, which we've tried to do, but that fight wasn't a fight. I think we can agree with that. The DT, however, the DT was hype. He must have dropped a mule right before the first DT. I think he should have just taken the damage of the DT and at least killed the Nexus. If you kill the Nexus, as painful and as scary as that might be, I think it's okay. We can do... Yo, Executor. 10 years and the Invisible Guys are still as good as ever. This was definitely a moment for an Invisible Guy to shine. I feel kind of sad. A lot of things went well there for Patches. The only thing that he should have done... Sometimes, guys, if you're so far ahead, if you look at your army and you look at their army and you're like, man, this cannot go wrong. I cannot lose a fight. It's obviously completely okay to save up energy. It is completely acceptable to have like 110, 120, doesn't matter, energy on your orbital command, just in case it is DTs. You've got an answer for that. And if it's not, well, then you can obviously just spam some mules and you'll be okay. Shout out to Ian Blue as well for the 36 months, not quite 10, but 3 years. We cannot just look at a 3-year sub like it's nothing. There are hundreds of channels out there, Ian Blue, but you would be a proper OG, mate. 36 months would feel like forever. Shout out to Dragon Force as well for the 14 months. I'll message him on Discord. Yeah. I've let our player know. I think he swapped servers, thinking that Game 3 was in Europe, but we can obviously just do Game 3 on NA, and then we can do Game 4 on Europe. So it will always stay 2 and 2. / a lobby link. That's a little bit painful, losing a game like that, I'm not going to lie. You got like a 20 plus army supply lead, you've got multiple tanks against just a couple stalkers. Charge is nowhere near done yet. Just save up some energy on your Mew. It goes for a lot of matchups, but definitely for TVP. But I think in PvP this really holds up as well. If you're so far ahead, just always ask yourself, what could I possibly still lose to? And could he have lost to random oracles there? No. Random void ray? No. Disruptor? No. Immortals? Like, if the only answer is DTs, then just save up some energy on your orbital. I know it's easier said than done when you're not playing and you're not nervous, but just gotta ask yourself, what can I still lose to? Because honestly, a lot of things went perfect there for Patches. Kept his opponent in the dark. He got the right move out. He caught a bit of that army before it even went back to the battery. He killed the entire robo, so didn't have to worry about multiple disruptors and a war prism. Those damn DTs. I'll see you soon, by the way, yo. I assume, right? You ready to play some football with the boys in Krefeld? I think I'll join for a tiny bit of football too this time.
Round 3. Fight!
Game 3 will be played on Abyssal Reef, one of the other all-time goated SC2 maps. In the top left side, he's one map away from winning 60 buckies on the Friday night. A man from Poland. This is Danny. Have you ever played football in a team? Yeah, when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I did sign up for the local football club, and I went training, and I went to those camps, and I played some leagues. Did it for like 4 or 5 years. The club I played for was actually called PSV, but then PSV Portugal. Portugal is a tiny village between Hoogvliet and RotterdaM. Hoogvliet is obviously where I grew up. RotterdaM is where I was born. I played for a couple of years, and eventually I just didn't really like it. It was one of these local clubs where if your parents would help out a lot on the local football club, they would put you in a nice team. But if your parents did not volunteer, whether it's like working in the cafeteria or your dad working as a coach, a linesman, referee, then it would kind of screw you over. My parents had no time for that because my dad had his own company. So when I was a proper kid, I played with all my friends. It was really fun. When I got a bit older, they put me with a bunch of baboons. And I know what you guys are going to say. It's like, Roddy, are you sure you were not a baboon? No, I wasn't that bad. I was definitely similar skill to my other friends. But my parents had no time to help out, and then I just quit. I did not enjoy playing with these donkeys. Anyway, this man, definitely not a donkey. Even though the DTs did him dirty, he's down 0-2. Can we turn things around? As it does seem like we are going to macro at least a little bit once more. The NA Terran, 19 years old. It's Patches. What position? Think Wesley Sneijder, you know? Central, offensive, midfielder, something along those lines. Sometimes I played as a winger as well. Obviously, as a kid, it's not that serious, right? But I was mostly dictating the midfield, baby. What was your father's company about? My dad had a pub. My dad was a pub owner. Also had like a little adventure in the restaurant business, but the pub was really like his baby, you know. You open and you stay all the way until it closes. Eventually, he quit it. That's a very exhausting life. But it gave us a couple good years. Double Reaper hops into the natural, kills 2 probes. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. 2010 was Wesley Sneijder's year. These are the builds, by the way, that I mentioned earlier. And I know that Fort Yumi does it sometimes. He's the highest ranked Protoss I can think of, the charge openers. But this kind of stuff is just also hit or miss. It's very hit or miss, but it might work. Patches has a 2-on-1 setup though, and I think that's technically perfect against the Serral charge opening. These Reapers are so far cooking. Obviously, we're cheering a little bit for the man who's down 0-2, because A, we want to see more Starcraft tonight, and B, we don't want to see any 3-0s. I think we had a very solid streak for a while, where there were like absolutely no 3-0s, and almost everything was 3-2. The last few weeks hasn't really been the case, but the PTR period makes it a little bit harder. Reapers hop into the main, and there's another probe there that's a bit further away from the rest, so that's an easy pick-off too. Did we see enough? No, we definitely did not see enough yet. If the Marines stay at home though, this is just so easy. Is Danny doing the wingend build? I know wingend does something like this as well, but I feel like it's mostly copied from Fort Yumi. It's an all-mega all-in coming out of the Polish Protoss. The man doesn't really have any tech. The gases are a bit messed up. Could be some nerves over here as well. 4 and 2. If Patches, guys, literally just stays at home and he builds Marines, this is the easiest game of his life. All you need to do right now is build Marines. No, there's no Dark Shrine here. If the Reapers can just sneak into the main, it would be so big. To see all these gateways, it would be so big. The 3rd command center is totally fine. That's not something that scares me yet. All we need to get is a lot of Marines, and the man is pumping out 3 Marines at a time. I do think that Danny has done a pretty good job at keeping his opponent in the dark, but like, look, the lack of gas income here. That has to be such a big tell, right? There is barely any gas mining on this side as well. The Reapers have been omega successful. 8 probes have died. Here comes the War Prism. Just fight. Love the SCV pool. It is better to be safe than sorry. It is better to overreact than to underreact. Snipes the War Prism and Patches is back, baby. Guys, don't overthink it. Guy with gun. Pretty good. Just like that. Really good SCV pull too. I don't think he needed it, but I still love it. Because on these moments, it's just your opponent is so committed. He is so all in. It doesn't hurt you to pull the SCVs there. That is going to absolutely guarantee it. Without it, I think with good micro, he would have been fine too. But I still love it. It's better to be safe than sorry. Very convincing win. Well done. That man is back. We're going to Europe for game 4. Yeah, really clean. Great Reaper play as well, to be fair, right? He was very active with the Reapers. He kept them alive for a long time. And I think Danny did a good job in keeping Patches in the dark. But the Reapers kept on finding probes, and then you're still happy. And then in the end, He got the perfect scout, he gets a few more workers, and he gets the perfect defense in his main. That's well done. Yeah, that man is competitive. This doesn't have to be a 3-0 one-sided series. Don't forget that he absolutely should have won the second game as well. I mean, he's down 1-2. He should have been up 2-1. Game 4 is ultra love. I think any build... I sometimes think that like lower ranked Terran players, and I say this with all the respect, they need to believe a little more in just the power of bio. I feel like they look at these very technical timings with a tank here, a cyclone there, and we're running to the other side of the map with 7 marines, no stim, no combat shield, while we're trying to just apply some pressure and going up to 3 bases. It's also complicated. And sure, it could work. Clem can do it, and Maro can do it, but how about we just build a whole bunch of guys with a gun and get quick stim? Let's see how it goes. My Terran was never good, but when I did play Terran, I just made a whole lot of marines, marauders, sometimes a couple mines. I was not a tank guy, but mines are fine. The basic units are so strong in Starcraft. They legitimately are. They can get you really high up. And we're not talking 5k MMR. You can go a whole lot higher if you just get damn good. Look at Moja, for instance. Sure, Moja can build a Ghost Academy and he can build some Liberators, but Moja does his best work with way too many Marauders and Marines. And that guy's up to 6,000 MMR. Sure, he may never be a Clem with that playstyle, but not everyone can be Clem anyway. I believe that everyone with hard work and enough time can get pretty good in StarCraft, can maybe get up to Grandmaster League. Not everyone can be Clem. So trying to copy his builds, I don't think it's that mandatory. Did you move, Roddy? I did, mate. I did move. We're living in Macau now, baby. It's Christmas over here already. Chinese New Year and Christmas at the same time. I didn't really watch Alex. I was busy. And with I was busy, I mean I was playing Deadlock. A lot of Deadlock. All the Deadlock. But I saw that we used the B squad for the game that didn't really matter against Bosnia. I just had no passion for it. I am, however, excited for the actual playoffs of Nations League. I know not everybody likes Nations League, but I rather see that than a bunch of irrelevant friendlies. I don't care about those. The fact that there is a trophy on the line that maybe 50 years from now Nations League actually really turns into something prestigious. I like it. I do understand some of the people that say that the football calendar is too full already, because we're also getting the FIFA World Cup, right, for club teams. Sure, they are pushing it a little bit, but I'm excited for the Nations League playoffs. Like watching Spain, Italy, Germany, France, Netherlands, Portugal fight over a little copy. That sounds awesome. The group stages, so-so, but at least it still means something a bit more than just irrelevant friendlies, which is not fun at all. I'm not stalling time, by the way, guys. Earlier it was Danny who had cold hands. Now it is Patches who needs to go to the bathroom, but we'll get through it. Yeah, but Rock, the thing is, though, that they do need some practice, right? I feel like a World Cup is kind of lame if 22 dudes never play with each other. Or 22 ladies. It is normal that once in a while they need to come together and play a couple games. And then I prefer if there is something on the line for those games, instead of absolutely nothing. And let players know that I'm always ready whenever I'm in the game. Game 4. Shout out to Indy, by the way, who's helping us out, hosting some game piece. Game 4 on Ultra Love. This could still go Patches his way. But he's gonna need something magical here on the European server. Can we go to our first Game 5 of the night? I hope so. I hope we get a lot of Game 5s over at Home Story Cup as well. Have they already announced the final player? Who was the last guy that they have officially announced, guys? Is the big news out there yet? Do you guys know that Goblin is coming?
Round 4. Fight!
The Young was the last guy they announced? That's pretty cool. There's another big one coming. It's Goblin. I'll tell you guys it's Goblin. Bottom left side of Ultra Love, we are looking at the main base of the NA Terran making his debut in the Big Brain Bout. So far, honestly, a fun showing, right? First game, he was pretty far behind, but he still tried and he had some good moves. Game 2 should have been his. Game 3 actually was his. This is Patches. Can't wait for Ryong back at the poker table. I can't wait for any of you guys to be back at the poker table, because last Home Story Cup, that was financially the best Home Story Cup I've ever had. I love it. Playing poker with these Starcraft 2 people. Top right side, guys, of Ultra Love. We're looking at the main base of our Polish Protoss. He's up 2-1. This is Danny. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Rock. And there are many moments that I agree with you, but I was just talking mostly about the fact that Nations League exists, and I think it's kind of fun. It does indeed really suck for big players that play in Europe, that have to travel back to Brazil, Argentina, Chile, or even America, obviously. There's not too many of them, but there's a couple. Canada, like, yeah, it's useless. That I absolutely agree with. And PLO stream when? If the nerds in Krefeld are as good to me this Home Story Cup as they were last time, then I think a couple days past mid-December, I can probably sneak in a poker stream. They get paid enough. It is true that they get paid enough, but also just thinking of the environment. I'm not like Omega crazy about it, but it does seem somewhat silly to have all these flights full of players and going back and forth for games that very few people care about. It's like, well, is that really needed? All these private jets. Is it mandatory, guys? Is it necessary? 10-20? No. More like 1-2, mate. The Reaper sneaks into the main base, kills a probe, drops the grenade. What did we scout so far, Patches? Already mentioned Chile. I saw on the map the other day that Chile is so long that if you would put it horizontal, it could actually create a bridge between America and Europe, or like Canada and Europe. It's pretty cool. Chile is very long. The Atlantic would be gone, guys. We should take Chile and move it. So it's Stalker Sentry into a Twilight Council. You can do a proper road trip with the boys. You wonder what Air is up to in Stockholm right now? He was hanging out here earlier. I'm gonna make a random guess, Fjont. I say that he's having beer somewhere. I don't know where, but I expect we're having beers and we're yapping about how great Oklahoma is. To a random guy in a Swedish bar, he's like, let me tell you, Oklahoma, the greatest state in the United States of America, the greatest country on earth, Oklahoma. And the Swedish guy is like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What the hell is this Oklahoma? That's probably what's happening to Air right now. Would you go a road trip across Chile into America? If it was possible, hell yeah. I would love to go to Chile once. Chile, Argentina, I'd love to go. Colombia, I'd really love to go. It's gonna have to wait. I'm lucky enough that StarCraft 2 brought me to Brazil a couple times. And I'm already very fortunate about that. Thank you to Gabagoop for the 13 months. I appreciate it. Hey, Roddy, long time no see. I'm happy I finally have the time to watch for a bit. Hello, hello, the real Oha. The name rings a bell, but I, for some reason, don't really know. I remember the nickname. That counts. Welcome. Did StarCraft have Brazilian events? Yes. Hero won an IEM in Brazil. I think... Who else won? Hero won one. Maybe Hero won twice even. Hero used to win all these IEM events. The first time I ever met Calazur was actually in Sao Paulo. For one of the IEMs. Thoughts on the Deadlock update? I love it, Sao Chen, besides the runes, man. I got so angry this morning. So I can actually explain it here. Basically, there's a bridge buff. But you cannot stand here and punch it. You have to stand here and then you go up the stairs and you punch it. It took me a little while to figure this out. I got very angry. Not Patches, however, guys, has followed my advice. Not something that many people do, and that is just build guy with a gun. Punish these greedy Protoss nerds, mate. Get some Marines, get some Marauders, quick stim. Believe in the power of bio. Well, he's taking it too hard. And look at the man go. Danny already struggling way more than he ever struggled in game 1. If we load everything up, I kind of like this load up as well. Using a recall, we have blink. He recalled into the main. He's gonna snipe one of the medevacs. Can we still blink? Is blink available? Both medevacs died, but the stalkers don't win this fight. Patches can absolutely get a bunch of workers here. Patches will get a bunch of workers here. Look at our NA Terran go. Guy with gun. Pretty damn good. Well, I'd say this is a very successful start, guys. I think we'll take this. 18 probes died. 8 stalkers died. A sentry and a battery. Starcraft 2 is a very difficult game. Just because it is very difficult doesn't mean we can't make it a little bit easier on ourselves. What's good? Guy with gun, stim, combat shield. Then we get a couple upgrades. Now, pulling probes into stim marines is very rarely the right case. Saying we need marauders. I'm okay with marine tank. If our tank play is good, marine tank is fine. Obviously, having like 3 Marauders in the mix to soak up a couple of the Colossus shots is awesome. But Marine tank is not bad, since Danny is pretty Zealot happy in general. We saw that in that first long games. Now he doesn't have Zealot charge here yet. Marauders definitely won't hurt. We do need to start scouting for the observers. I think Patches is kind of cooking. Good, we have our first game. Oh, no, no, no. I shouldn't have said it. I shouldn't have said it. It's because he flew over the observer, but he does save the medevac. That's very big, and he actually is able to unload all these units. So he's starting to turn this around from what could have been an absolute catastrophe. It's actually kind of okay. Kills 2 more stalkers, loses a couple of marines. Yeah, that's not too bad. 5,000 MMR, holy sweet. Little sensor tower with a green circle, boo. Patches built so many command centers. I feel like this man just drops CCs whenever he has money. I don't think that he really goes into the game. He's like 7 minutes and 20 seconds. I want to build my 4th. I kind of feel like he just builds units, trades a little, and then he's got money. He's like, I'm gonna build a 4th. And that's alright. It is better to spend your money than to randomly sit at 1500 minerals and just not being able to somehow get that number down. So I don't hate it, but it does feel a bit random to me. Will this medevac get sniped? The observer placement by Danny has been good. This one should die, does not die. Man, Patches is flying. It's actually insane. Really good saves on both of those drops. This would have been less bad than losing the double drop, but still kind of sucks, right? Losing 8 marines randomly does suck. In my hotel, considering going out in a bit. If you win, we can go celebrate. Do you have any friends right now, Air, in Stockholm that you have plans with? And make sure to dress warm, by the way, because it would suck for you to get sick. It is cold over there in Stockholm. I've been to Sweden many times, in the winter months as well. Proper cold. Nice little snipe there with 3 stalkers that were warped in, but then he needs a few more units to deal with these leftover marines. He's able to warp in them zealots though. Double forge got scouted. It's nice to know where these forges are, so maybe you can make a play for them later, but besides that it shouldn't matter too much. Then a second robo finishing up as well. Patches, you've got such a sick army, mate. It's kind of a shame that he's now just trying to work with 8 marines at a time. So I feel like his main army has been pretty inactive for a little while. We've got a Ghost Academy, similar to game 1, but we haven't used it yet. A 2-2 max with a couple EMPs, be sick. Without it, could be okay if we have enough ghosts. Look at this man, stopping at 69 SCVs. Nice, nice, nice. Seven extra marines. I don't hate marines. As long as you don't run into Colossus or try to snipe Colossus with the Marines. Moja, if somebody should not be upset over 50 Marines, it's you, man. You have 50 Marines in a low eco game. Didn't you have 117 Marines against Reynor in like 10-minute game? He's got Colossus and he's got 4 Disruptors now. He's got triple Colossus, 4 Disruptors. That's pretty solid. He's even getting a 3rd Robo. It's a little bit hard, by the way, to see the color of Danny on this minimap. I don't hate the Marines. I'm okay with the Marines as long as we don't do something too silly. These Protoss operators might make a lot of zealots, guys. Having a healthy number of Marines is perfectly fine. $60 on the line for the winner of this series as Danny tries to go up to 5 bases. It's a lot of bases, guys. Look at the micro. Who's flanking who? Who's surrounding who? I don't know what's happening over here. I don't know if the players know what's happening. Not Patches comes in from 2 angles, snipes the Disruptor. What a snipe. That could have been a total disaster. Now the Marines are melting a little bit. These Novas, they do connect in a really big way. Well, you guys didn't like the 50 Marines. We are now down to 21, but Patches is immediately going to remake a bunch of them. That was a very weird fight. I don't think either player really expected an all-out fight to break out there. One Nova could have been omega painful in the beginning of that fight on the top left side, but did not go off. And now all of these low HP bio units are just going to stim into the 3rd base. And Danny is not turning around. Danny is going for it with 1 Colossus. Missile tanks! Kill the Colossus. If you kill the Colossus, mate, you're cooking. Can't quite kill it. Yeah, he's got so many tanks! Oh my god, Patches was so ready for this attack. Just left a bunch of tanks and Widow Mines behind. Now the Colossus is still alive, but bio units have been split off into the natural as well. We are absolutely gaming the DTs, not again. We are gonna recall here, right? Yes, we are gonna recall, but to which base? To the main, the natural? Where did we to the 5th? Okay. Well, that's definitely a recall. Not the one that I expected. The 5th is, however, somewhat near the 4th, and that is going to allow us to clean up these bio units. The Summons have cleaned up the rest. In the end, we both lost everything. We both lost a couple bases. The Vikings, they knew where that war prison was going to be, baby. What a snipe. You know, there should be a way for a Viking to fly into a medevac. If medevacs can pick up landed Vikings, why can't a Viking just fly inside of the medevac? Explain that to me. You gonna tell me that the technology is just not quite there yet? In the end, we end up losing all the Vikings and the medevacs. Now we have 0 medevacs, guys, and we're building a Viking and a Liberator. Oh my goodness! No medevac gaming. I love it. No, don't absorb the ball. All right, that was fine. How many Disruptors are left? 9 DTs, 5 Disruptors. This 1 Colossus is so terrifying. Oh my god, we're going to blow up our own army. We are definitely going to blow up some of our own army. But in the end, that worked out really well for Danny. Patches is absolutely full sending it. I love that move out. Just didn't quite work out. No medevac gaming. And we just stimmed into a couple of choke points. Does finally kill that final Colossus. But the Zealots are such a big problem now. Maybe Danny will blow up some of his own units once more. By the way, that could have been way worse for Danny. I would have blown up all my own DTs. So I gotta say, the man from Poland handled that well. The Vikings have landed, but we haven't scanned in forever. So the DTs, they just keep on swiping. And Patches goes back to building more Marines. But not winning that fight. Not really having a real economy behind this anymore. I think spells the end. Oh, this could have been his game. This really could have been his game. Fun series between these two. But in the end, tonight does go to the Polish Protoss Danny, who got very close to winning a few times. Tonight, he does win in the BBB. Unfortunately for Patches on his debut, it wasn't meant to be. But that was pretty fun. I feel like we saw some entertaining Starcraft between these guys. Shout out to Basilisk for a allowing me to host this series, and B, for the 10 gifted subs. We'll take that. Next up, guys, we've got a PvP, and we stay on NA for that, because it's Peru versus the Netherlands. It is Peru versus the Netherlands. Let's go to NA for Hydra versus Mute. GG's, guys. Congrats to Danny for the 60 bucks. Congrats to Patches for the 15. I hope that our gamers had fun. Happy Friday, DJ Chris. I enjoyed it, guys. Honestly, thought that was a pretty decent series. Had some funny moments, had some painful moments. The only thing we deserved was a game 5. But besides that, totally fine. I'm gonna go ping Hydra. Hope that he's ready. Yeah. He didn't actually respond to me earlier today. I mean, Hydra feels like a very reliable gamer. Oh, he's here. Yeah, okay. I was worried after a split second. I was like, don't tell me that he forgot. That doesn't seem like a Hydra thing at all. Alright, we'll settle that prediction and get ready for the next. Will Team Roddy still be a thing despite WTL being done? It's a decent question, Cobble, because I've been thinking about that. But the answer is yes. But I'm not going to do more than 2 players. I really like Fiont. He's a great kid. I really like Sep. He's a great kid. I know we had Fire on the team for a while. I let him go because just kind of felt that the vibes energy wasn't really matching. And that's okay, right? Wish him all the best. But I will continue supporting these 2 as long as there is hopes and dreams of EWC and big tournaments. As long as there is something that resembles a scene, I will keep doing Team Roddy. But just 2 players, like not more than 2. Money doesn't grow on trees unless you have Bitcoin. Then you're doing very good right now. Unfortunately, Roddy didn't have any. So I have to work hard for my buckies. But the 2 that I currently have, for as long as they want, we'll keep supporting them. Because I think those kids are awesome. It was Danny who won the best of 5. That is correct. Next up is Hydra versus Mute. I mean, Team Roddy was never really meant for a WTL team, right? If anything, it was more about just supporting the journey of young kids, whether it was Goblin, Cuckoo, Baby Marine. It's more about giving them support while there is not a whole lot going on. So, the focus was never WTL for me. That was a bonus when we had 3 or more players. That is not really relevant. But if, like, for instance, there is no EWC and there is no circuit, then I'll probably stop it, because then what are we doing it for, right? But I expect there to be one, so I expect to continue supporting these kids for a little while longer. And obviously I'm not doing it alone. Jacob is absolutely awesome. He continues to help out a lot. And Andre, absolute legend. Shark, forever a legend on the channel, but he's not that involved anymore, but that's okay. So it's not a big deal for me right now. So we'll definitely keep these 2, but no more than 2. Red is in there. I don't know if he's actually listening, but that would make me very happy. Home Story Cup this weekend. Our Rots. Would be fun to see you. But I won't bother you. I'll take a tiny break, guys. Grab myself a drink. After that, we'll be back with our second series of the night. We've got a PvP into a ZVZ, into a TVZ main event. I'm actually very excited for Hydra Mute, and I'll tell you guys all about it real soon. Fun games, Patches. Honestly, those were fun games, mate. Thank you for the 3 months, and congrats on the 15 buckies. I'll see you guys soon.